I'd like to welcome everybody from the three territories and all the folks that have come north from south of 60 to talk about an issue that is dreadfully important to all of us. We're here because even though we're in session, we wanted to make sure we had an opportunity to let you know that we are fully engaged in the issue of dealing with understanding permafrost and climate change, and then trying to take the steps to adapt to it as we as well try to mitigate. Between my colleague and I, we have about 27 years in the legislature and about 17 or so on cabinet combined. So we've been around for a while, and we've been fully immersed in this issue as government. And as we look across the north, clearly from an environmental perspective, there is no doubt in our mind that we are really in the midst of some rapid change. And I'm just going to just take a couple minutes as Robert C's warm-up act to just sketch out the extent of our involvement in terms of understanding what's happening with climate change, and in this case permafrost. We have a partnership arrangement with Wilfrid Laurier that I'd like to hold up as an example of how we want to do business. We have to do business as a territory, and we've been together now for, I think, 4 years or so. Wilfrid Laurier has been doing work in the north for longer than that. They have some blue chip information out of places like Scotty Creek at Fort Liard, where they've been looking near Fort Liard, where they've been working on discontinuous permafrost and the effects of cut lines. How do you mitigate? I was over there for a visit, and it's very compelling, both the change to the landscape and trying to understand it, and are there any ways to remediate or mitigate? And it's a great challenge, and they're going to expand their range farther north up the valley, and we're going to be with them every step of the way. We have our own science and research agenda that has climate change, global warming, all the related issues as one of our priorities. And as Fred said, we are fully planning, and we are fully committed to making sure we try to integrate the two critical streams of knowledge, the Western science and, of course, traditional knowledge. And we have, Robert C. will talk to you about the infrastructure ones, but as finance minister, I can tell you, for example, we just had a huge sinkhole appear in the Inuvik airport runway. And it's going to cost us, it has cost us probably about $750,000 just to temporary measures, and we're going to be spending probably at least $3 million next year trying to understand what's happened so we can fix it with a more permanent fix. The issue being that it's tied, we believe, to changing landscapes, temperatures, permafrost, and we face that challenge everywhere. And I had the opportunity to be just a little bit west of Aklavik on a helicopter tour of the Delta, and we flew down Willow River, and it was absolutely stunning to see the amount of slumpage and the permafrost melting, and the river, the valleys just sliding into the river bottom due to the warming, and you could see the permafrost, and you could see how it just was a cycle that just kept getting worse and worse. So we know firsthand in our territory that the life around us, the world around us, is changing from on an environmental perspective. And as a government, we are putting more and more resources into adapting as well as mitigating. But the adaptation is probably, it's the most immediate for us with things like the Inuvik airport. So it's very good to see so many smart people in a room here to talk about an issue from their jurisdictions. And of course, we're looking for that kind of collective wisdom, hopefully the avoidance of duplication, and a better understanding across the board. How do we deal with this issue that is facing the whole circumpolar world at a pace that conservatively has always been underestimated and seems to be picking up as the temperatures warm. So I really appreciate the opportunity to say a few words. The work you're doing is critically important to all of us. I mean, we live in, a big chunk of where we live is in the Mackenzie River Basin, and it's one of the biggest river basins in the world, and it's referred to as, in some quarters, as the cold Amazon because of its impact on the world climate and how it affects things like currents and the water, the air. So we really are working hard to understand how do we deal with what's happening to us. And there is no roadmap ahead of us. And so we're really going to be looking at the work that you folks do, along with all the folks on the ground, the Aboriginal people with their traditional knowledge. So I wish you a very good conference, and we're looking forward to some real blue chip information here and some next steps that will help us be more effective in how we deal with this issue. On that note, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Robert C. McLeod. Thank you.